Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to make a Christmas wreath out of this book, and I don't know if it's sacrilegious, it's the Devil Wears Prada, but anyway. This one I just picked up at the tip shop. So the very first thing that you do is cut out some pages from the book of your choice. You're going to need quite a few of these different cone shapes. So you take each piece of the book and you wrap it around so that you end up with this sort of open cone shape there at the top. And I found myself trying a few different options. I tried this glue, but that did not work at all. So I ended up opting for some of these magic dots just to hold the cone in shape until such time as I connected it to the rest of the piece. It took me a few goes until I got this technique, where I just sort of roll around from the middle and then connect it at the end. And I found that for this particular sized page, it was working very well for me. And the magic dots were also doing a good job at holding the cones together. So starting from the middle there, tucking it in and rolling that piece around, and that seemed to capture all of it without having bits hanging off the edge. So if you're doing this particular craft today, or you're planning to in the future, I suggest that this might be a good technique to follow. I've seen this technique used before, and they may use like a rounded wreath. I just drew a circle on a piece of thick card and punched holes at the top, which is going to be my mounting piece, so I'm going to put ribbons through that. And then I laid out 4 of the cones in an east, west, north, south position and made sure that I had that lined up. I think the glue dots worked really well as just a temporary hold until we could get it into the hot glue here. Okay, so that is the first round, and now you're going to come back and you're going to add more and more in between those pieces. So you're going to be gluing those in, and you just keep going around and around and around to make it as big as you wish. And this thing, I'm going to make it quite big. So I'm going to get going with some more paper rolling. Now, as I'm making my way around this third round, I actually ditched the dots. I think that it would be much better to use tape if you're going to do this, but nevertheless, we're going to continue. I'm using the hot glue gun, so once I've got my cone ruled, a bit of glue on the end to hold it, and then I can glue it up and pop it in where it needs to go underneath the rest of the wreath. So I'm happy with the way that this is working with tucking those in underneath. So I'm just working my way in between each of the pieces. It's sort of puffing forward, which is great. It's giving it volume. And any of the pieces that are actually still sort of in here, you might be able to turn and tighten a little bit if you feel like they need to be, like this one here. And then the piece that goes underneath it will definitely hold it, so I'm not stressed about that at one little bit. Alright, I'm looking pretty happy with that. The other thing that you could do, just to double check, is to put it up on the wall and just have a little look at it from afar, just to see if there are other pieces that need to be tucked in. And if you do find that, you know, one side's looking a bit more woofy than the other, you know, throw a few more pieces under there to give it a little bit more fill. Now, I just want to double check the back, because as you know, I did make it so that it could be hung. So that is the top. So I'm just going to place that down like so. Once I hang it up, I'll know where I might need to bunch in some more of those cones. But I've actually cheated here a little bit. I haven't made the centerpiece. I actually bought this from the shop up the road. And I absolutely love this, and I thought it's going to be absolutely perfect for this job. And it was $4. So I couldn't make it for that. I decided that I would cheat and get it for here. So this is what is going to go in the middle. So in order for it to go in the middle, I'm just going to flatten out these pieces in the middle a little bit more. So that it can sit in there nice and snug and have its tails hanging out like so. So what a great piece this is. And in order to stick it to here, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on each of the pieces in behind. And if I can get in, I should have done that first, shouldn't I? Get in underneath, just where that is, right in the middle, big blob, and just push that down a little bit into that as well. I think this looks amazing. There you can see, I'll just bring it up for a closer look. Really, really easy to make. If you didn't have something like this, you could easily make it with some of the different bits and pieces that you can get. Get your own foliage and that kind of stuff with a bit of beautiful ribbon. But this was perfect for the colour of the old pages. So I'm going to pop this on the wall, see if it needs any further tweaking, but this is pretty much done. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, because I'm always creating things. At the moment I'm in the craft room, but it could be in the garden, I could be in the kitchen, you know, I could be doing some DIY. We've got a lot of renos that need to be done around the house, so I'm going to be doing lots of different stuff. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you stick around. I'd love to have you here. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it at this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you again for watching.